from this meeting moving forward in the 21st century, pledge of allegiance, I'm going to ask Commissioner John Smith from Scotland if he would lead us in the invocation, and then we'll do the pledge of allegiance in unison. Those of you who wish to join us, please stand at this time.
Pray first with praise. Realize and recognize the fact that God is in you, that we live, move, and have our beings. So it's only fitting that we pause this morning to say thank you. Thank you, dear God, for blessing us throughout the night, last night, for waking us up this morning. Not just waking us up, dear God, but giving us the strength to get up and start on another day's journey.
Yes.
As the journey has found us here this morning, dear God, assembled to take care of the business affairs of this county. We ask no gracious Master for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It will be pleasing in your sight. Lord, they're pleasing in your sight, and dear God, be beneficial for these people of this our great county. We're just asking, dear God, a special blessing upon our comrade, Mr. Reed's man, and the gracious Master, bless him, confidence, strengthening to them, Heavenly Father. We're just asking, dear God, not only to bless upon him, but bless mankind everywhere.
Yes.
Because we realize, recognize the fact, dear God, that all
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do want to thank Commissioner Smith for leading us in the invocation and pledge. Of course, I failed to mention it earlier, and I should have. Commissioner Manning is not with us today. He's in rehab center. He's progressing, keeping your thoughts and prayers. And Commissioner Quarles had a family matter involving his mother. He texted me this morning. He had warned me last night that he probably couldn't be here. So, the next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. I trust that the commissioners have had an opportunity to review the agenda. I will so entertain a motion for the adoption, if it's your pleasure.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Brewer, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign of aye. All opposed? I tell you what, it's so good not to have to call y'all names out when I drafted that for me to do. But okay. Conflict of interest. In accordance with the Halifax County Board of Commissioners Rules of Procedure and the North Carolina General Statute Section 153A-44, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board or by law. Does any board member have a non-conflict of interest with respect to matters coming before the board today? Commissioner Johnson?
No conflict.
I don't have a conflict. Commissioner Brewer?
No conflict.
Commissioner Smith?
no conflict.
Consent agenda deals with item A, approval of minutes. Item B, property tax collections, refunds and releases, August 2022. Item C, budget amendments, and item D, carried forward budget amendments. Commissioners, unless you have some questions or comments, I will so entertain a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
I'll second the motion.
Motion by. Okay, now, today is a great day, thank God, because the highlight of our day today is the special recognitions, and we have four of them, and all four of them are excellent special recognitions. This is the time you love your commissions when you do this. You know, you do a lot of complaints and a lot of other things, but recognition and member in honor of Marcel O. Smith, Halifax County Commissioner. And just before I have Commissioner Brewer to come up and do the camera lighting and any comments you want to make, I want to make a few comments concerning Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith, he was a fine young man and a great young man. You know, his regular job as a juvenile court counselor. He was just an incredible young man. And when I had COVID, and I was out for probably about 3 months, and many of you know that, many of you prayed for me, like see Robin Cullen in the audience, he called me, he prayed for me too. Many others did as well. He was appointed temporary chairman of this board. You know, and at that time, Commissioner Manning was in the hospital too, but he had a different issue. He was dealing with his knees, but I had COVID. And he was out for a long time too. So Anyway, with that being said, and just before Commissioner Brewer comes forward, I'm going to ask us for a moment of silence in honor and memory of such a great young man. Amen. Commissioner Brewer.
As I light this candle, I can, sitting in my seat, county board, hospital board, school board, county commissioners, unless you die, you stay in that seat. For those of you who don't know, Marcel was my seat buddy. I cannot tell you what an asset he was to me as a first-time early commissioner. The things that he has left behind are part of his legacy. I am proud to have had him for a friend.
Along with his nameplate and the seat, Madam Clerk, Ms. Williams did such a great job of putting all that together. His seat is draped, that was his seat that he sat in. And the seat has been draped since his passing. And it's been in her office since then, the entire time. And often I'll go in and talk with them, we will look at that, look at the seat and say, well, we're about to do something about this real soon. And I know Commissioner John Smith is with us, and, and I'll never forget when Commissioner Smith, but he said that, this is not the way it's supposed to be done. It's not supposed to be the dad taking the son's place, it's supposed to be just the reverse. And I know also there are family members here today and friends of the late Commissioner Marcel Smith, and I'm sure that Commissioner John Smith may recognize them at some point. Anyway, moving right along, the next item on the agenda, and this is another, he had all of us on this board of commissioners was, friends with the late Commissioner Marcel Smith, but Mrs. Johnson was very, very close to Commissioner Smith, and she's going to do the resolution in memory and in honor of Commissioner Smith. And we've already adopted that, but she's going to read it again. Ms. Johnson.
Not only was Marcel a member of the Board of County Commissioners, he worked with me in the Halifax County School System. This is not easy. We always would tease him. We would say, those of us that have been on the board for a very long time, that we were making policies that he would have to carry out because we would be at home and he would have to carry out the things that we had adopted. So at this time, I'm going to apply to the County Commissioners, Halifax, North Carolina. Whereas the Halifax County Board of Commissioners pauses in its deliberation to note with great sadness the passing of Marcel O. Smith. And whereas Marcel O. Smith was appointed to serve on the Halifax County Board of Commissioners and began his tenure in September, and whereas during his service as an elected official, Mr. Smith demonstrated wisdom, creativity, and community spirit. As tempered with exceptional common sense and engaging personality, which gained the admiration and respect of his fellow commissioners and the citizens of Halifax County. And whereas Mr. Smith was honored for his efforts that has indeed left an indelible mark on Halifax County, which he served very well. And whereas Halifax County mourns the loss of Marcel O. Smith and extends to his family sincere sympathy and deepest appreciation for his leadership, his foresight in meeting the needs of the Sept County's unique quality of life. Now therefore be it resolved that the Halifax County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of a grateful community, does hereby express great sorrow in the passing of Marcel O. Smith, who personified a distinguished career in local government and whose life and memory we are proud to honor. Marcel O. Smith, and orders that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the Halifax County Board of Commissioners this 4th day of October 2021 when it was approved. signed by Vernon Bryant, Chairman, J. Commissioner. We would like to present this to Mr. Smith, and if he has family in the audience, if he please stay. On behalf of the Commissioners, Mr. Smith.
At this time, we're going to move to the next item regarding the late, in memory and honor of the late Marcel Smith. We have a claim to large attention. And I'm all kind of walk around a little bit. The Board of County Commissioners before, James Pierce, Gene Minton. Of course, Miss Johnson, she was on the board at that time. And then the current board, Rachel Hutz. You know, nice. Want you all to see that. And, this is going to be presented to the family as well. Marcel was probably, I know he was probably the youngest commissioner ever to serve in Halifax County, maybe the youngest in the state of North Carolina. But anyway, this is the largest pictures, and the men want to be here today, couldn't be here, but I've heard from quite a few of them, but he did serve with these folks. He served very honorably. I think this is a nice, large picture. And this over here. And also, this picture there, as well as his name tag, will go with the family. Mr. Smith Clark has agreed to put all this together for you in a nice little neat box or whatever at the end. So, next. I'm still up, it looks like. Now, this is a resolution for the State University. Commissioner Smith and I attended Fairfield State University. And Commissioner Smith, of course, he was way behind me. I'll be 65 with his son, and he was in his early 40s when he passed. But he was also served as student body. When the chancellor at Sept State University, he was a good friend of mine, his name is Darrell Allison, found out that Commissioner Smith had passed, he immediately put a resolution together for him. And also, I want you to know, I don't know if his dad even know this, but Marcel was also being considered for the Board of Trustees at Fairfield State University. And that was at all about the time he passed, but he was being considered. Anyway, Marcel Smith was a native of Scarlet Lake area in Halifax County, North Carolina. Whereas Mr. Smith, upon graduation from high school, enrolled with his beloved Fairfield State University. And my alma mater too. Go Broncos. Well, Mr. Smith, during his time at FSU, was active in a variety of extracurricular activities, most notably president of the Student Government Body Association from 1999 to 2000, and president of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Dr. Carson, with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice in the year 2000, Mr. Smith returned home to his native Halifax County. Whereas Mr. Smith loved his community so much, he decided to seek public office and ran for a seat on the Halifax County Board of Commissioners, where he not only became its youngest member, but also possibly the youngest ever to serve in that capacity. Mr. Smith worked as a juvenile court counselor and served as an advocate for not only the youth of his community, but also as a champion for those who elected him to office. Of the Tillery Volunteer Fire Department, chairman of the Juvenile Crime Prevention Board, and service to the Cater Board. Therefore, be resolved that for his dedicated service to his community, youth of Halifax County, for the support of his alma mater, his dedication, loyalty, and respect for all with whom he came in contact with, is hereby decreed that his name will forever be entrenched in the annals of Fairfield State University. It is therefore signed this 18th day of August in the year 2021 and in the 154th year of Fairfield State University, Darrell T. Allison, J.D., Chancellor. And at the time, before all the COVID and everything got kind of up in the air, Chancellor Allison wanted to come here in person and make that presentation. Okay, at this time, we're going to have, thank you for being here, Commissioner. And I think you got some help there with you too, a place that we're very familiar with in Halifax County.
I do.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thank y'all for having me here today, and it's truly an honor to be here to be a part of the celebration of the dedication that Marcel did. I had the opportunity as a commissioner to serve with Marcel immediately after he got on. Marcel, he always drove from Halifax all the way to Vance County. He put a mini mile in for everybody, and subsequently as things grew and things changed, that trip from Halifax to Charlotte,
Yes,
and he was so dedicated to the people. Marcel, he served with mental health, and he served on the health boards, and he was a champion he did at a state level. It wasn't just here. He had a passion for people, and he continued to do those things. And as a member of the Cardinal Board of Innovations Directors, I have the honor to present a proclamation to the family today. Before I present that, I want Elliot to say a few words. Elliot also had the opportunity to speak, to work with him.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for this opportunity. Good morning, Commissioners. It is an honor as well. I miss Marcel. There's a lot of things I miss about him. There's a lot more than what I would consider one of my bosses as serving on the board, not just our board of directors, but our local regional board, and did so in a way where it wasn't just about accountability and service to that purpose, but to me as a person. Marcel was not shy about reaching out to me as an individual. We were both young people in this leadership role and saying, look, I know sometimes this is hard. This work is hard. This population is deserving of everything we've got to give them. And I really appreciate that. He left a mark on me as an individual from the gate. And I just wanted to mention that to you guys. His service was obvious. His presence was obvious, but he also had that on a very personal level, individual level. So, again, thank you so much and appreciate the honor.
Thank you.
We jumped a lot of ditches together and got into some issues, and he was just truly dedicated to the people, not only through his county commissioners, but he and I had interaction over the years with the community and with the fire departments and those things. Those public safety is just a true person. So I will read the resolution. And this is from the Cardinal Innovations Healthcare Board, which is now VIA, I believe, so it's changed. But whereas the life and career of Marcel Arethian Smith as a teacher, counselor, and most recently as a juvenile court counselor, he filled with great personal integrity, compassion for his fellow man, mental health needs, which led him to serve in various capacities over several years as chair, co-chair, and a member of the Fayette County Mental Health Board. And whereas Marcel continued his advocacy for mental health, joining the Cardinal Innovations Board of Directors, where his commitment spanned more than 8 years, and whereas during this time he was a consistent and powerful champion for rural communities, an advocate for children, and a voice for those who are honest, continues on in Scotland County and Halifax County and extends all across North Carolina. Now therefore be it resolved, the Cardinal Innovations Healthcare Board honors the life and memory of Marcel Arethian Smith in respectful recognition of his service and dedication to his community, his region, and to Cardinal Innovations. Be it further resolved that the Cardinal Innovations Healthcare Board expresses sincerest gratitude and deepest condolences to the Mr. Smith for your family. Thank you. He didn't just touch the lives in Halifax County, he touched lives throughout the state. and it was an honor to be a part of that journey with you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. You probably supposed to be meeting with us today, but anyway, we appreciate you being here with us.
Okay, thank you.
She has to talk about Lake Commissioner Smith as well.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Smith, we miss Marcel terribly, but I'm happy to present just a very spontaneous picture to you that represents Marcel wearing one of his many hats. Marcel was one of those people that wore many hats and was one of the few people that could wear multiple hats at the same time. From his work as a juvenile court counselor, which partnered pretty much with his being chairman of JCPC, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council, which really allowed him to work with staff on an almost weekly basis. We saw him, not as much as the chairman, but we saw him a lot too, so we got to interact with him. And with his work as juvenile court counselor, he was very closely tied with law enforcement, EMS, and fire as the Tilley Fire Chief. And so I wanted to come and support that night and all the programs they had. And we took this picture with Andy the ambulance from EMS. And you'll also see Tony Brown, our former county manager, and Mary Duncan, our finance director, and some EMS staff members. I'm in there too, but Andy, of course, was the star of the show. But Chairman Bryant saw this in my office one day. I've had this in my office since we took it 4 years ago. And he said, you need to show Commissioner Smith that picture. And so when I enjoyed working with him, he was just easy to work with, and it was very normal to see him walking the halls of the courthouse. So we felt like he was one of us too. And so we'll miss him terribly. But I will add this to your list of things to take home from Marcel, but we just want to thank you. And I'll show everybody this picture. It's really small, but just Andy the ambulance and some of our EMS staff folks. So, thank you for allowing me to.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Smith? Move up you at this time, any more introduction of family?
Just briefly, it was said that the evil men do live after them, but the good often enters the grave with their bones. I can say with my late son Marcel, that has been reversed. I thank God since the day that he's passed or when he got sick, no one has come to me with any negative comments about my late son. For the time that he was here and the impression that he made on humanity, I know that I'm not worthy to be sitting here anywhere close to his seat.
All right. So, all right.
But I thank God that my fellow commissioners saw enough in me to give me an opportunity to serve this county. I'm not a Marcel, but I promise you I'll do the very best that I can for the people of this county. There are affairs of others before your own. And that is what I'm here to do, to try to do the very best that I can for the people of our county. And I thank you all for the trust that you have in me and for the kindness that you've shown my family and I since Marcel has passed. I have a very small family, really. My daughter's here. But I do have my church family here. And I do ask that you all please stand. And my lady friend as well. It's my fellow David Brother Curtis Kane. Ladies, y'all stand up. This is Sister Moore, one of our trustees. This is her daughter, Sister Moore again. This is my lady friend, Ms. Velma Leathers, Ms. Carolyn Smith, and of course in the back is my daughter. And we thank all of y'all for being here.
Okay, at this time, we're going to move to the next item. We're still on the special recognitions and presentations. We're going to ask Ms. Christina Wells, who is our Assistant County Manager, to to come forward for the 2022 Governor's Volunteer Service Awards. And by the way, I want to mention this too. When we be able to take some pictures and move on a little bit for about 10 minutes after the presentation. So we're not far away from getting to that point, so please just hang around, if you will, okay? Ms. Whittle?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, honorable commissioners, and other elected officials, our staff, and our citizens. I think it's very appropriate that we present these Governor's Volunteer Awards after we've talked about such a wonderful human being, citizen servant, elected official, and just godly man as Marcel Smith. So I feel very honored that the Carolina Governor's Volunteer Service Awards. I think this is a very prestigious award. I have been blessed to serve as the awards coordinator for the past couple of years. And this year, we not only had 2 award winners, but we also had a Governor's Medallion Award winner, which means of all the award winners who were presented to the state of North Carolina, that office chose 20 out of the entire state to receive the Medallion Award. So I'm very excited about that. These awards were notified to the county in the spring, but with COVID and our not being able to meet in person, we wanted to delay until an in-person meeting so we could recognize and take photos. So let's begin. All right, the item program. Guardian ad litem Jan Morgan has displayed exemplary commitment and dependability in her work with the program. Mrs. Morgan has served as a guardian ad litem for as many as 4 cases with multiple children at one time. Mrs. Morgan is the go-to volunteer for high-profile cases. She is always willing to take a case as they come in. Often, when she is in court on behalf of one of her cases, a new case will be heard, and after hearing the details of the new case, she will offer to take it. Mrs. Morgan is a seasoned guardian ad litem, and I often will assign a newly sworn guardian ad litem to shadow her. This has worked well for the newly sworn guardian ad litems. Mrs. Morgan never says no to any request that is made. She is the one guardian ad litem that I know I can always depend upon. Mrs. Morgan can easily establish a relationship with the children and families that she serves. She has a way of making children feel comfortable so they can open up to her. She has helped over 12 children to find a permanent home in her 2.5 years of serving as a guardian ad litem. Mrs. Morgan maintains good relationships with all of the social workers and other agencies that she has worked with. All social duties she is charged with as guardian ad litem. Those were the words of her nominator, and at this time I'd like to present Mrs. Morgan with her certificate and pin. If she will come forward. And we're going to pose for pictures after this. But here's your certificate for the Governor's Award for Volunteer Service, acknowledging your contributions to the community. And here's your pin. I hope you wear it proudly. Congratulations. All right, continuing with these honors. Our next award winner is Carolyn Battle, and she serves with the Lincoln Battle, a lifetime resident of the Lincoln Heights community, has followed the footprints and passion of her parents, Robert and Dorothy Hawkins Fleming, as an activist, humanitarian, and volunteer. Mrs. Battle is a retired educator of the Halifax County Schools and a leader in her church's youth and adult ministry. In 1993, she assisted in organizing the Lincoln Heights Community Development Coalition, the Lincoln Heights Community Center, and the Lincoln Heights Community Crime Watch program. Mrs. Battle is the owner and operator of CB's Child Care Center, Lincoln Heights' first licensed child care facility in business for 36 years. Additionally, she is the second executive director volunteer to ever render services to the all-volunteer staff the past 15 years. Thanks to Mrs. Battle and her late husband, Mr. Sam Battle, a basketball court was funded and installed by the couple at the Lincoln Heights Community Center in 2021. Mr. and Mrs. Battle also purchased land in the neighborhood to erect a new community center, with construction slated to begin in 2022 with funding from the state budget and the Community Development Block Grant Neighborhood Revitalization Program funds. As a community volunteer and activist, Mrs. Battle maintains a constant watch of the poverty-stricken Lincoln Heights living conditions, and the impactful devastation it has on the community's social cohesion and economic prosperity. With those words, we would like to honor Mrs. Carolyn Battle, if she will come forward. Ms. Carolyn, we would like to present you with your Governor's Award for Volunteer Service and designation of appreciation and your wonderful volunteer service award pin. I hope you will wear that proudly as you continue your work. Thank you.
Comments, and I don't know if my colleagues won't make any or not, they can jump in, but Ms. Moore, we want to congratulate you on behalf of the Halifax County Board of Commissioners on your award. We know that you work for the Chamber of Commerce and you got your executive reference and other folks here with you, but we thank you for all that you do in the community as well. So thank you so much. And as far as Carolyn Battle, Ms. Battle concerned, I've been knowing you a long time, Ms. Battle, and you have always loved kids and always tried to do good by your community. I see Dr. Florine Dale is here with you and others, but thank you so much for all that you do in the community, and God bless you. Anyone else? Okay, Dr. Red.
All right, Mr. Bunch, if you'll cue up that video. The Governor's Medallion Award winners, as I said, those awards were announced earlier in the spring, and they had our group gathered at City Hall. And part of that virtual award ceremony, they asked that we film a 1 to 2 minute video to share with everyone about the project and the accomplishments these wonderful volunteers have done. So before I read the nomination, I think it'd be fitting if we watch this brief video that they did a fantastic, I enjoyed watching it being made. I was out there, they were battling the wind and the sun, and still did a marvelous job. So we'd like to share this video with you at this time.
I am Dr. Charles E. McCullum, Sr., President of the Eastern Carolina Christian College of Seminary, responsible entity of the Syracuse Evans Inclusive Public Art Project. We are extremely overwhelmed with gratitude to the Governor's Commission for the selection of the Syracuse Evans Project team to receive the prestigious 2022 Governor's Volunteer Service Award. Words cannot do justice to our gratitude and appreciation for the recognition of this magnitude. We also want to extend our deepest appreciation to the Z-Script Learning Foundation.
On behalf of the Syracuse Evans Planning Committee, it has truly been our privilege and honor to have worked collaboratively with the county and city officials and our community partners to establish the Syracuse Evans Plaza. It has truly been a labor of love to honor a distinguished person and unsung hero such as Syracuse Evans. This committee is most appreciative and thankful for this award. The committee members are Dr. Charles E. McCullum, Sr., Dr. Irvin Griffin, Sr., Ms. Ophelia Gould Faison, and yours truly, Dr. Georgette Brown Kimball.
The Syracuse Evans Committee also appreciates Mrs. Syracuse Evans, her family, and her legal team, led by Dudley Roundtree, to tell her untold story.
Again, on behalf of the Syracuse Evans Public Art Project, Irvin Sr., and all of our partners in government and other entities, we really want to thank you for giving us the Governor's Medallion Award. And as mentioned before, this has been a labor of love for us. We have labored to honor the trailblazer of justice, Mrs. Sarah Louise Keys Evans, and we thank you so much.
I thought we did a beautiful job. I was blushing with pride that they couldn't see it on Zoom. At their virtual ceremony, they did already receive their Keep with a Committee Member or display at the Syracuse Evans Plaza. but I would like to read this very beautiful nomination quickly. The Lee Smith Reynolds Foundation in 2018 offered grants to communities that would highlight the compelling, unknown, often untold stories of trailblazers like Sarah Keys Evans through public art. The genesis of the 2018 Z. Smith Reynolds Public Art Project Grant was brought to the attention of Dr. Irvin B. Griffin Sr., President Emeritus of Halifax Community College. Realizing that Mrs. Evans submitted a grant proposal to highlight the story of Mrs. Keys. From a pool of approximately 80 applicants, ECC and Seminary was among the 10 finalists and subsequently received a $50,000 grant to build the Sarah Keys Evans Plaza, now located in the Martin Luther King Park, located at the corner of Virginia and Weiss Streets in Roanoke Rapids. The Public Arts Project highlights the story of Sarah Louise Keys Evans, an African-American woman who enlisted in the Women's Army Corps and refused to move to the back of an interstate charter bus in the city of Roanoke Rapids on August 2, 1952, 3 years before Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a city bus in Montgomery, Alabama. The committee spent the next 2 years to donate their skill at no cost to the project, garnering approval for the project from the Roanoke Rapids City Council and others, and building a website, sarahkevinsproject.com, that would be interactive and allow groups to visit and have a guided tour of the site. One of the committee's most pressing and important projects was to hire a muralist who could accurately interpret the story of Sarah Louise Kepolian Hill, who realistically depicted Mrs. Evans' story. The Sarah Keys Evans Plaza ribbon cutting and unveiling program was held on August 1st, 2020. Since that time, the committee has led celebrations such as the Sarah Keys Evans Day annually on August 1st and her birthday every April. Most recently, the committee was intimately involved in the celebration of the historical marker that was dedicated in Roanoke Rapids on January 15th, 2022, honoring Mrs. Evans. The attendance at all of the celebrations has been very diverse and well attended. The Sarah Keys The committee has had to manage grant writing and administration, architectural designs and construction, finances and reports to the foundation, budgeting issues, community engagement and outreach, reports to city council, and myriad other tasks with a limited budget. The final product in MLK Park is a great example of volunteerism at its best. Special thanks to Dr. Charles McCullough, Dr. Helen Rosser, Mr. John Simeon, Mr. Napoleon Hill, and Mr. David Putney for their tireless contributions to this project. As I said before, we'll take the photos after this, but could everyone please stand up with the Sarah Keys Evans project so we can give you a round of applause?
You know, on behalf of Halifax County Board of Commissioners, to each one of you and on these Evans Public Art Project, thank you so much. You know, if you have not visited that site at the MLK Park in Roanoke Rapids in the Challenge Road School, you need to do that. It's a sight to see. It's really very nice, and they've done a good job with that. You know, and another thing too, a lot of you, and we heard what the assistant county manager said, you know, this took place about 3 years before the Rosa Parks incident. And many people don't know that. You know, that was history all in itself. So, you know, it's a great educational piece as well, but do thank them. And it's a very prestigious award. You know, sit just a few more minutes. We have a couple more to do. We won't keep it that much longer, and then we would like to just kind of mingle some and take pictures afterwards. At this time, we want to move to the next item, and this is the 2022 Civic Excellence and Innovation Award. And Ms. Denmark, County Manager, is going to lead us into that, and we're going to ask her to come forward. And of course, the library director is here as well, but Ms. Denton, we're here for you at this time. And I'm going to tell you something, now this award is tremendous. And you'll find out in a few minutes. Ms. Benton?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Each year, the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners and the Civic Federal Credit Unions are presented at our annual conference, which a few of us were able to attend, to highlight the 10 award winners, and Halifax County was one of them. Halifax County Library System won one of those 10 awards for its Reimagining Story Times project. This came about due to COVID, as many things did. Libraries, among a lot of other public agencies, shut down due to COVID. And a lot of counties actually put their library staff to work doing COVID-related tasks, such as contact tracing. So students who needed some internet access to continue school from home. But the highlight here is the Reimagining Story Times project. The staff really had to think out of the box. They had to overcome a little bit of fear about speaking on camera and in front of other people, but they did Facebook Live, and they really interacted with students and children and adults all over the country and outside of the U.S., reaching as far as Ghana, to our knowledge. They had over 100,000 attendees for these story times. So I don't know if you had anything else to add. I would like to recognize Brenda Faithful and her staff.
Go ahead.
And
I'll have some comments at the end.
okay, so at our conference back in August, from the, she's probably got them with her, from the award, and their trophy. But we're so proud of them, and they should be proud of themselves. They've worked really hard, and they've really had to overcome a lot of challenges, like all of us have for COVID, but they really shined, and we're so proud of them. A lot of times you see these awards won by the bigger counties, your more urban counties. So we were so excited that Halifax County won one this year. So I was going to have them come up unless you had other comments.
Let them come up, and then at the end, we probably will.
Okay. Ms. Baker, would you come up and introduce your staff? And all of you? It's going to be okay. And then we'll do some pictures at the end. We already did some pictures at the conference. We took over the stage and everything with their trophy. We were so proud of them. Do you have the video? We do have the video. Would you like to show that first? Yeah, let's do that first, and then I can... Okay. Can we show the video? Are you doing it from there? Okay, we'll do it. Have a seat.
The way that we do business all over the world, even within the library system. But here in Halifax County, even with the challenge and reaching over 132,000 people from the east to west coast to even Ghana, South Africa, the hard work and creativity of the Halifax County Library System paid off. Meet our outstanding team. Brenda Faithful, Barbara Valdez, Cheryl Brown, Latasha Belbro, John Thomas, Cheryl Diggins, Cynthia Williams, Bonnie Ludlam, Ginger Phipps, Kimberly Gray, Sarah Austin, Matthew Duncan, and Kayla Diggins, Junior Librarian. Here in Halifax County, we discovered that when we reimagine, we can reach the world. What's your reimagined story? COVID-19 impacted the way that we do business all over the world.
You want to introduce them again in person? Yeah, we're going to introduce your system. Thank you all.
Hold us. Now come on up and stand against the wall, maybe, or just so we can see you. Yeah, just kind of line up against the wall. And that little cute girl right there, she needs to come up so we can really see her. Yeah, you come up here, little sweetheart, because you the prettiest thing in that crowd.
Thank you for your belief in us. Thank you for your support, your guidance, and allowing us to do our job. That is something that we were one of the very few counties in the state of North Carolina that were fortunate enough that had the support of commissioners and county management to say librarians need to stay where they are and they need to serve their people. And that's what you allowed us to do, and you see what happens. I could not be more proud to be the director, the leader of this group. They are the most amazing, the most talented, the most dedicated people I have ever been in contact with. And Ginger Phipps, she's Library Associate in Scotland Neck. Cheryl Brown, she's the Library Associate at Halifax. Bonnie Ludlam, Branch Librarian, Scotland Neck. John Thomas, Library Associate / genealogist, Weldon and Halifax. Cynthia Williams, she's a Library Assistant in Enfield. Latasha Deborah, Branch Librarian, Weldon. Cheryl Dickens, Branch Librarian, Enfield. Sarah Austin, Library Associate / Accounting Clerk, Halifax and Littleton. Matt Duncan, Jack of all trades, he goes everywhere. I can't put him in one branch. And Kim Gray, she is the Branch Librarian in Littleton. And last but not least, our Junior Librarian in Training, which has her own story time on Fridays. You need to follow her on Facebook. She is awesome. She's a better storyteller than a lot of adults I know. Akayla Dickens. Again, thank you for your support. I am so proud of each and every one of you. You did a great job. Couldn't do it without you.
Ms. Faithful, on behalf of awards that's not given out by the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners and the other credit union group, they just don't give these awards out. Ms. Denton said it very well a few minutes ago. Most of the time, small rural counties don't stand a chance receiving any type of award like this. But Ms. Faithful, and I've said this many times to Ms. Denton and to Tony Brown when he was here, you are an incredible leader. You exemplify what a manager and a leader should be. So you set the right tone for your staff. That's why they so good, because you're good. And if you're not right, they will be right. Just like this Board of Commissioners. If we're not right, Ms. Denton, her staff not be right. So we got to be right up here. You got to be right out there so your staff can be right. And that's so important. But you got it right. You do a great job. I think you're the best librarian director in the whole state. So let's give them all the Thanks again.
Thank you.
At this time, we're going to move to the last item, then we're going to take a quick break, do pictures of what have you. I see my good friend, Ms. Martin Scotland Neck is here too. Thank you for being here. And we're going to recognize a resolution for, I don't know who Gregory S. Griffin is, but I do know who Gregory Griffin is, our utilities director. We're going to ask Commissioner Smith, if he will, and Mr. Greg Griffin to come forward. And also, Mr. Griffin was a birthday boy today. Happy birthday, Greg. He must love Halifax County to come to give a resolution on his birthday. And by the way, Mr. Smith said on the board. Okay, all right.
Mr. Griffin, it's an honor for me to have an opportunity to do this. And I say to the audience, this is the last, but it's not the least. But I promise you it will be the brief. Whereas Gregory S. Griffin decided to retire as Public Utilities Director with Halifax County Public Utilities Department effective August 31st of the year of 2022. And whereas he has spent 30 years with the local government, Gregory has also served in many positions of honor in the community and state, as well as being a dedicated public servant to the citizens of Halifax County. Now therefore be it resolved that on this day, Tuesday, September 6th of the year of 2022, the Halifax County Board of Commissioners did honor Gregory S. Griffin with formal adoption of this resolution to be recorded in the minutes of the meeting of this day, signed by our Chairman, Vernon J. Bryant, and attested to by our clerk to the board and assistant to the county manager, Ms. Andrew Wiggins. Gregory, congratulations. Also, we present you a 30-year pin for your services and your official retiree pin. And I'm not exactly sure what they're giving you here.
I think that may be a lot. And also, too, just before you make remarks, Greg, I'm going to make a motion that we approve that resolution. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, motion second is said to be done. Any further discussion? All those in favor by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, Gregory Griffin.
I'd just like to say thank you to everyone. You've heard a few examples of some people that are associated with the county this morning already who are so admirable, and it's just been my privilege to be able to work with such a fine group of people, from the public utility staff who does the hard work every day, to my peers who are in other departments, how helpful they've been to me, to management who is also supportive and helpful, everyone, and finally to the commissioners who supported me, and even when I screwed up. And I appreciate it all so much, and thank you all, and always have a fond place in my heart for Halifax County. Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Griffin, I have only one problem with your retirement, and that is you're retiring during the time is for us to renegotiate our contract. You couldn't find time to leave you.
You know, Greg is an exceptional manager, he really is. And, I mean, in Halifax County, we're very blessed to have good leadership, you know, at all capacities. Sitting here to my right, every one of them are great, super. We got the best attorney in the state. Greg Griffin is going to be serving this. Greg has a tough job, and he has his own babies and a lot of other things that go on that the general public don't know about. And he has many, many challenges, and he has met those challenges very well. Greg, we're going to miss you, but guess what? We got about 40 or 50 boards, and all you got to do is just pick one. Okay, congratulations again. I think that concludes the special recognition presentation, right, Madam Clerk? Okay. At this time, we're going to be at ease for about 10 minutes, and now look, those of you that was recognized, if you have to run out to the restroom or something, just kind of do it quick, but let's take direction from Ms. Wells before you leave, because she wanted to position us to get pictures and what have you, and we don't have to, we don't have to hurt the cows or whatever, however you say it, okay? So let's just kind of look to her for direction, okay? All right, we'll be at ease about 10 minutes.
I'll tell you what,
Great You might like me and take Well, you got enough of the That's a great team.
You got it. Yes, ma'am. Hey, how are you? Good. Good to see you too. Yeah, we do.
Never got
I get you more.
I just asked for it. Tell me.
We're going to go ahead and get started, guys. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's see, I believe we've got all the commissioners in place, right? Okay. At this time, we do not have anyone for public comment, so we're going to skip over that. And we're going to allow Ms. Scott to come forward at this time, Kathy Scott, our Economic Development Director, because she has an appointment to meet someone very shortly, and she kind of needs it.
We have an industrial client at lunchtime today, so that's a good thing.
Ms. Scott, thank you for helping me now.
Good morning, everybody. What a great first meeting to have so much show of community support in this county and all of the things that people are doing, and to honor Marcel Smith, who was such an important leader for this county, and grateful to you, Mr. Smith, for all you're doing to try to fill his shoes anyway, but you're doing a great job. But I have previously provided you the economic development update. Hopefully you got that in your weekly update, and we're able to access it online. So I'm just going to hit very briefly a few items that I think are important for you. Number one, our unemployment rate was 6.5% in June, but dropped to 6.1% for July. Across the state, there was a drop in unemployment. That represents 1,176 unemployed persons, and an interesting fact about those unemployed persons, that pretty much represents that there are 2 jobs available right now for every person that's unemployed. So if somebody's looking for a job, there is a job in Halifax County for them. It's just a matter of matching up the skills with the individual. Our building permits were just over 6 million compared to just over 2 million last year in July. But we ended fiscal year 2022 on June 30th with the highest gross retail sales ever recorded in Halifax County at $660,479,000. That's much higher than it's been for previous fiscal years past. Just another indicator of how strong our economy is hanging on right now during this national attitude of recession anyway. A couple of quick project updates on the West Point Stevens property in Runnock Rapids. We are so near the end of our efforts to secure a ready for reuse designation for this property. We have a draft brownfields agreement in place, and we're working to get all of the conditions in this letter addressed so that we can work with a company that's interested in this property to make it a great location. Roseburg continues progress in construction of their facility. We're in the final steps for the sewer line relocation project. Benderholtz Infield, I had a recent meeting with their leadership. They're continuing to grow and ramp up for production and just really making progress at that plant. It's something to see. A couple of other points that I would like to make are we are working with Airboss and Scotland Neck, Mr. Smith. As you know, they have to go through a neighborhood to get to their plant, and they are really, as they continue to grow, looking for alternative access to their plant. So I met with them last week, and we'll be meeting with DOT later this week to try to see if we can identify a way to provide an alternate access for them. And that will help the neighborhood and help the company as well. And then I'll be coming back to you next month in October with a funding proposal for extension of the Halifax Corporate Park Road to 903. As you know, when the airport was developed, J.S. Pope Road went all the way to Grapevine Road, but when the airport was built, it really just stopped right there at the corporate park. And so there are some strategic improvements in that area that can be made to help improve, I think, the future of the Halifax corporate park, as well as serve the airport and the community overall. So USDOT has some funding through all of the ARPA funding that's coming to the states and available at the federal level. There's an opportunity for us to address the strategic transportation need, and I'll be coming back with you with a plan for that at your next meeting. Halifax County is also one of 9 counties that is under consideration for 3 slots in North Carolina for the Rural Partners Network, which is being administered and promoted by USDA. We have had numerous interactions, virtual meetings, presentations, things of that nature. You all know Reginald Spate. He's been engaged in the community talking about this. He very much supports Halifax County being one of those 3 slots. And what this will do is help us to unlock federal resources and have staff at the federal level that will work with our community and its partners to help better coordinate how we can access this funding, help us actually apply for the funding, and just give us more local capacity to address not just county needs, but other needs of the community, both community and economic development. August was a very busy client month as far as activity. We continue to meet with existing industry, and that's outlined in our report. And then a highlight of our activities is included in the report too. I won't take your time today, but thank you for your support. We continue progress in economic development. We have a lot of people who tell us that they feel the growth of our community, and our numbers are certainly showing that, and we keep our fingers crossed that the next couple of years we'll be able to really enjoy the fruits of our labors in industrial recruitment. Thank you.
Ms. Scott, you're a great example of our good friend Frank Davis, working together with us. And, you know, with this Rural Partnerships Network, that's really important. And Reginald Spade was planning this county. But Ms. Denton and myself and others just couldn't participate, and but it was important.
Oh, yeah.
Ms. Scott stepped right up and took a part in it and took good notes and was able, she was engaged in the meeting and put something aside her schedule, but was able to do that for us. And we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's real, real important.
Well, hopefully I can take some of the load off all of y'all, because you've got too much to do. We all do. So I'm playing a role to try to help them put it together.
I'm sure we have to move something aside to do that. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, this time we're going to move to item A under the agenda items, Human Relations Commission update. I'm very excited to have and to hear from Dr. Stephanie Cradle. Thank you for being with us. Come on up. She's another jewel in our community.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. Commissioner Bryant, other commissioners, community leaders. It's just a pleasure to be here with you all. We have a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to pull up, but before that comes up, I just want to express my extreme gratitude, and it's just an honor to serve this county, and I'm just looking forward to the great things that are going to come at the revitalization of the Human Relations Commission. So for those of you who don't know me, I grew up in this county, went to Northwest High School, and returned here after my retirement of 30 years working in the human relations career field and the equal employment opportunity and diversity and inclusion fields. And so we're now operating out of this county, Chrysalis Enterprises. My team member and operations manager, April Jarrett, is on the YouTube channel right now, listening in and hearing this briefing, but I want to give you an idea of what we'll need from you as commissioners, as county leaders, in order to make this revitalization effort take place. I'm looking for how I move this thing up and down. Okay, here we go. And so one of the things that is really critically important for me to share with you is that there is a framework for how we're going to make this effort happen. And this framework operates with this quote in mind, that the significant problems we face cannot be solved at the same level of thinking we were when we created them. And the graphic that you see on the right of the screen is a graphic that adopts a process called appreciative inquiry. Appreciative inquiry operates from the premise that you look at what you've done successfully in the past and you take those successes and you build upon those to create a more successful future. So it starts with the discovery phase. It starts with a, dream phase. What if we did the things that we did in the past that were so successful? How could we use those to design a future? And then we operate and deliver that future. And so we've been working, Commissioner Bryant, I know I've probably blown your phone up a lot about the Human Relations Commission, and I appreciate the confidence that you have in us. I've been working with Ms. Denton and with Renee Renee Perry to come up with the things that we want to see as we move forward. And what we'll need as we go to the next phase of this is we will, trying to move it, am I not doing something right?
Try page down. You see page down?
I do that. Help me out. I did not put my glasses on. Here. Down. Okay, there we go. And so our goal is to revitalize this commission, as I said before, using an appreciative inquiry approach. We're going to plan based on the next 90 days, and I'll show you what that'll look like, for the recruitment and the appointment of new board members. As we've looked at the history of the board, we see that there is a very need to have memberships and representation from all aspects of our county constituents. We're going to update the bylaws, and then what we're looking to do is to market and promote the Human Relations Commission to county leaders and to the county residents. And so what we're using is this appreciative approach is making sure that we can ask the kinds of questions during this inquiry process that will help us look at the past and look at where we're going. That's where we'll need your help. As commissioners, we want to know what your goals are for this commission. What do you want to see it do, and how do you want to see it operate in the community? As I was looking at the history, I was really pleased that Dr. Florine Bell is here, because as I was going through the records, I saw her name as one of the prior members of the Human Relations Commission. And so I just want to thank her for being here today and staying here because she was very interested in how this is going to work. So how the appreciative approach works is we ask best experience questions. Looking at the commission in the past, what was it like when this commission was operating at its best? What did that look like? And we help to define that as the focus of our inquiry going forward. We want to look positively. So in my experience working with in the human relations business, if you look at the past with an idea of what didn't work well, you can spend all of your time, wallowing in what didn't go well, and it doesn't help you to proceed forward in the future. So we look from a positive approach. And we look at that combined with the values. What does this community value most? What's the nature of the work you want to have done? And so what you'll probably do or hear from us in the future is we'll be talking to you, asking you questions, conducting interviews with key stakeholders to make sure we totally understand what this commission is designed to do, what it needs to do for the betterment of the community. And what we'll probably ask you, if you had a magic wand, what would this commission look like? What are the 3 wishes that you'd make to heighten the vitality and the health of the HRC? So as probably the next 2 weeks, we'll talk about definition. We want to meet with people who are key stakeholders in this community, because we can't build this in isolation by ourselves. That won't work. People need to know that they're a vital part of this revitalization effort. It has as its core a positive approach. We will help people to look at the stories that they had when they were working at this commission at its best, and then where we want to go. What our goal is, at the end of our time with you all, at the end of this 30-day period, we want to make sure we can help you reframe the Human Relations Commission. So we look at the presenting issue. We will not look at the issues of the past. We won't ignore those and act as if they don't exist, but we will help to reframe those as the best possible outcome. Whatever issues that the commission has had, maybe with being consistent across the years, we'll look at that and look at the best case scenario for how to move that forward. What is the real issue that we want to approach? And then what is the desired outcome that we hope to achieve through the revitalization effort? When we finish this 90-day process, what you will be given is a very bold, provocative, positive move forward. It is going to probably be perceived as, sometimes those types of bold, provocative statements can be, how is that possible? But we're going to look at the art of the possible here and look forward to the Halifax County Human Relations Commission being the best human relations commission in the state of North Carolina. And that's what we hope to present to you as we move forward. Okay, I'm going in the wrong direction. So here's our 90-day timeline. From weeks 1 through 3 is going to be our definition and discovery weeks. We want to talk with you all. We want to talk to the county leaders. We've already started that conversation. I'm so grateful for Ms. Perry and all of the information you've given us. But we also want to talk to people in the community. I'll give you a good example. When I looked at the bylaws, the county wasn't like it is right now. We have a total diverse and county that includes a large community of people who are Hispanic, and that population is growing. So we want to see a huge amount of collaboration across cultures. We want to see our commission look at the future, what those emergent needs are. So this discovery phase, we want to talk to prior commission members. We want to speak to leaders in the community, and we'll need your help in helping us define who those stakeholders are. In weeks 4 through 6, we'll begin to develop shared images of this future. What does it look like? What is the strategic goal setting so that we can move forward? No commission doesn't flounder, and it will be in place for the next 2 to 5 years with the strategic goals and with some key process indicators for that success. Weeks 7 through 10, you'll be in that design phase where we are making sure that commission members are on board and that they're designed to meet the emergent needs of the community. And then in weeks 11 through 12, it will be the training aspect of the Human Relations Commission. We'll talk about what their goals and what their objectives are, and we'll begin to market that to the community. We'll be networking with stakeholders locally and statewide in order to build a program for how the commission is going to interact with the community here. We'll also be asking you what you want that commission to do as far as being the avenue of redress for constituents in the Halifax County area. And so you'll meet April Jarrett. She's our operations manager and facilitator. And both of us are trained in this area called appreciative inquiry, where we look at what's best in our past and bring that forward to what's happening in our future. And the ultimate goal is to make sure that Halifax County is an inclusive community where everyone can operate at their best. So, do you have any questions for me?
Okay, you've heard information coming from Dr. Clay. Do y'all have any questions, comments?
I have maybe a couple. My first question is, and I guess you can hear me in this now. My first question is there a budget attached to this process, and is there any budgetary matters appealing to us as commissioners?
So from Chrysalis Enterprise, HRC itself does not have a budget. It operates at the discretion of the commissioners. And so any of the activities that the commission is going to do will be brought to the commissioners for your support. So for example, if you look at the HRCs across the state, you'll see that they do activities, they have programs, they have outreach events. But in this county, in my review of all the historical records, one of the things that was decided was that the HRC itself would not have a dedicated budget, but that the commission would provide the funds as they deem the activities of merit to receive those.
Do your contact persons here are Ms. Benton
And Ms. Renee Perry, yes.
All right. So any other questions I can refer them to?
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
Breeze Mounds.
Yeah, that was a very good question. Dr. President, first of all, that's a great presentation. It really was. And you also, I was going to ask you about other counties, and you just touched on that. So, I'm just looking forward to the next steps and you coming back before us, with some recommendations. I don't have anything else to say to you. I mean, you really touched a lot of things in your presentation.
Well, I really appreciate that. I think as we move forward with, we do have some remaining members on the commission. We'll be reaching out to them to make sure that we can build that camaraderie and that, connectedness with them to see how we can move forward. But we would definitely need your help with identifying and appointing new members to the commission. And then having an open, I just recommend an open kind of marketing and promotion to the local community, letting them know that we are looking for members. And we're looking for members that bring a diversity of talent and a diversity of interest to the county.
Right. Yeah, I just think too, Ms. Benton and I have talked about it, and the commissions are aware too, but I just think it's important, extremely important. You gotta have the right people sitting in that position, and you don't have to be folks that think alike, as you and I both know.
Right.
But you just gotta have the right people on there.
Absolutely. And we'll be working with you all as we move forward to come up with objectives. We'll bring those back to you for your approval. And
That's important. And also probably train us too, educate us about it.
Absolutely. One of the trainings that we're going to provide is a training called Risk Communications. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but when you have a commission like this that often does get contacted with community issues, vital, key community issues, it's important that we develop a risk communication plan so that we all sing from the same sheet of music. We all know what we're here to do. We recognize what our responsibilities are, but we'll be developing some key messages so that everyone on that commission will be able to speak to that if they're ever asked, and they'll know, what their roles and responsibilities are.
Anything else, commissioners? Dr. Cole, a great presentation. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to move to the next item. He's been very quiet. I don't know if it's because the Washington Commanders, I don't know what they want to do this season, and especially because the Cowboys.
They heard it from Wilfred one time today, too. Outnumbered, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see everybody in person, finally. I'll come to you today briefly with two late application requests. The first one being from Miss Bessie D. Hopkins. She's rendering a late application for the elderly exemption for property taxes. In your agenda packet, you will see a letter composed by her daughter, signed by her, requesting that this board accept her late application for elderly exemption, a lot of the property taxes and stuff like that. So if this application would have been received timely, I would have approved it. And so I requested this board make a decision on whether to accept Ms. Hopkins' application. Ms. Hopkins knows that if this board does accept her application as a late application, she will need to apply again timely next year.
I will approve if it's appropriate at this time.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed? Okay.
All right, thank you. The second late application is from the Historical Halifax Restoration Association Incorporated. I spoke with Attorney Larry Armstrong about this when he inquired. They got a bill for the property. He was unaware that it wasn't automatically exempt. The only things, so it's not really tied directly into any government entity or municipality. So you can, again, read in his disclosed letter, his request about the property. Also, enclosed a copy of the statute about historical association-owned property and the late application. After reading the statute, I believe that I would have approved the application if it was timely for this year. So I requested this board make a decision on whether to accept this late application. And Mr. Armstrong is also aware that if the board accepts the late application, that he will need to present a timely application next year.
Mr. Chairman, if I may order for the honor request.
Okay, motion made by, all opposed, like sign.
I'm amazed that Larry Armstrong didn't know that.
But it seems like in reading it was because this was a new piece of property that was given to the association.
It was gifted to them, I believe, and it's contiguous with the property that already belongs to them, that's currently exempt. And again, I think he just thought it was going to be automatic.
Ms. Johnson.
And he admitted it. But he was very easy to work with on this. He didn't know whatever I asked of him.
The grant project orders and administrative agreement related to new pre-K through 8 facility for Halifax County Public Schools. We'll hear from our attorney, M. Glenn Rollins Jr. By the way, I know what the M stands for that.
If I misbehave, I'm sure I'll hear that. Good morning, board. It's so nice to be with you in person after. Not that Zoom wasn't bad, but it's good to be together, and I appreciate all of you being here. This matter concerns, as you know, Halifax County Public Schools, thankfully, was successful, $83,000. I'm getting that for a new Eastman Elementary, or new elementary school at the site of the current Eastman School, which is to be demolished. There is, with this grant, there is a 5% county match of $2,057,000. Now, what we're here to do is a couple of things. One is to put together an administrative agreement between Halifax County and Halifax County Public Schools concerning the administration of the grant. That grant money comes to us, comes to Mary, as it's requested, and then it's paid through the county to pay out the various costs of the new construction. So there is an administrative agreement attached to this agenda item. So finance the school construction. There's been a similar administrative agreement between the county and the school board about who's responsible for what. We basically being responsible for funding the project, in this case with a grant, in earlier cases with loan funds and our own money, and they being responsible for the construction of the project. It sets out those responsibilities as it normally does in the past when we finance school construction. The Board of Education has this. They're going to take this up at their next meeting, which I think is later this week or might be next week, for adoption as well. Unless you have questions about that, I'll stop there with that, because this is something you fairly actually need in place to know about that administrative agreement.
I have a question. If I remember correctly, when we did, when I gave you middle school?
Someone besides me would have to help with that, but I do remember when it was built. I wasn't here with you, but yes, ma'am.
And I know that what we had to do then, parts of the schools completed. And then the money was released. There was like an overseer from the county to make sure everything was being done.
Okay.
Going to be similar to that, or is it a different agreement? You feel we need an overseer from this office?
I don't think we need an overseer from this office. What we have, and Mary, you can help me, or Deal, you can help me when we get to this kind of mechanic, but what we basically have is there'll be, I think the school design builder will be responsible for seeing that the contractor has accomplished what needs to be accomplished for it to be then paid in stages as things go along. To the extent there's an overseer Mary Duncan, our finance director, will be, and we'll all be having regular meetings with all that work has been done and being done on schedule. This is a little bit different in terms of funding because unlike situations where we finance a project, we have those funds from our lender. In this case, from time to time, we will make disbursement requests to DPI, much like the way they from time to time, so that invoices can be paid. It's not really a situation where we're going to have to get reimbursement. An appointed overseer that we hire and pay to look at all this, but that is part of the design build function that the school board is intending to use in constructing the project.
Now, what is the responsibility of the school board once this is presented to them?
They also this is an agreement between us and them, so they also have to adopt the administrative agreement and sign it to DPI. And there are required reports, I don't know if they're quarterly or annually, but there are required reports under this grant program as to what's been done and where it stands. But they acknowledge their responsibility to get the work done, make the reports that are necessary to have the disbursements made back to us so that we can pay the invoices on that work.
So the reporting is
Responsible for the reporting.
Okay.
Their obligation is to provide the information to us so that we can do the reporting.
okay. Thank you for that.
Sorry that's complicated, but it's free money, and if it's complicated, no problem.
It's not as complicated as it was.
And that could have had something to do with the kind of funding that comes on the daily project. Project ordinance. And the grant project ordinance is exactly what Mary will have to have in place in order to set up, we don't have this in our general budget. So then the expenditures in the grant project ordinance total that same amount of revenue, $41,140,000. We've broken down those expenditures for now based on what was in the grant application. That's obviously going to change as the project develops. And if that's every time we know what the actual expenditure is going to be. The other thing this grant project ordinance does is the chairman the authority to sign disbursement requests to DPI along with the chairman of the Board of Education, so we don't have to come back to you for that every time as well. All this to keep things running smoothly. Beyond that is your typical grant project ordinance about the reports that are required and so forth. So my request, and it also attached, and it's not very long, is the grant agreement with DPI. What you to do is to adopt the grant project ordinance, because by doing that, you're authorizing the chair to sign the administrative agreement and the other things that are needed. So it's really just one action, adopt the grant project ordinance, and we can move forward with the project. And everyone's very excited about this, and particularly down the road at the school board office, they're really, I hope we will. We've got something in there.
I sit here and I think about 21 million here and $2 billion, and I'm so glad I came to this.
We've got this is been done very often, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for Halifax County, for the state. I mean, it's just kind of unbelievable, really. And you're right, we've got a couple other things in the works, and I hope at least one of them, both of them really work.
All three of our school systems have applications in this
Project ordinance.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Smith, and further discussion. I just got one thing, and I guess this is for Ms. Denton and probably to the attorney. We're not going to talk about it. County cost, we just maybe talk about that later. I know it's too late.
Change not, but that could change as your bids come in from your different contractors.
It's still a gift.
It's at, yes, ma'am.
All right, anything else? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. I'm telling him that was an impossibility, and the good Lord made it possible, because that was the only thing.
And our community is so excited. We are so excited.
Yeah. It got rules of business, Johnson. You know that Eastman, I got a call from the president of Eastman alumni. I mean, they're excited. They really are. A little bit longer than that. Okay, item 5 on the agenda, board appointments. Okay, I believe the Halifax County is semi-overcrowded, like he was made. I have to watch I can't split too many verbs up here. But anyway, received nominations to appoint Larry Armstrong, Sandra Bryant, Carl Burke, Jeff Dickens, Carol Gidry, Lori Bevan, Joyce Tilleration, and there'll probably be other applications coming in as well. What is your pleasure?
I move approval, we got some good folks on that board.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Brewer, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. Aye. All opposed like none? Okay. Number 6, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, do we have just one more?
We got 2 more.
2 more. Is Halifax Park and Recreation, is that next? Yes. Okay. Halifax Park.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. Aye. All opposed like sign. Okay, the next one.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Blair. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. And we still have it, anyway. All right, at this time, we want to move to Ms. Scott spoke earlier, which is item 6, Economic Development Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning again. I feel like I've been in church today doing the Lutheran workout, being up here so many times for such good causes, so I'm really happy about that. In your agenda materials, I only had 2 items, but I do have a few in my email this morning after the meeting began, so I'll do that last. The first one is a retirement resolution for Mr. Garland Wheeler, retiring from public utilities. Just request your approval. He's unable to be with us today.
Any further discussion? All those in favor by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, they're due by September 12th. These have been included in your packets, just to, these are the 2 that you had in the previous round, and unless you have other submissions from the county, and I believe that conference is in November.
You're on the delegate.
Yes, sir. So unless you had other comments, just request.
Okay, motion is second, it says be done. Motion by Ms. Johnson and second by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? All those opposed say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Halifax County, if you read in your weekly update Friday, the contractor came to visit both of our proposed sites, one being here in Halifax at the 4-H Rural Life Center, the other one was in Scotland in their downtown area that they're converting to this really neat playground recreational area. When the contractor visited the Scotland facilities, when he went to the 4-H site, we did not have those things. We did not notice at the time when they were asking for feedback about locations, but as you know at 4-H, there's really no formal parking anywhere at the facility, not to mention it, we would like to explore at a later time, but it's not there currently. So discussing among staff and with the Trillium representatives, we try to come up with any other location in the county that may be suitable, but we really couldn't. So we wanted to get your feedback on using the entire amount, which is a site, and probably an attraction in town, and that would attract children of all abilities. So just want to get your feedback on that before we can move forward.
Sure, we'd love to have it there.
I'm sure you would.
And when I read the update, I did think about the distance between Enfield and Scotland Neck, so that's workable as far as it just not take all of the funding available for free. I'm good with it, true.
And Hotwood's out there.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a community.
It certainly puts a facility in the southern or eastern.
And it's to the other end, at least we have Needham Mountain up there for people to enjoy.
Which also got a new playground last year.
We're good there, but I'm good with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it as well, but I want to say this. We're going to have to, at some point in time, that 4-H site. when it comes to parking, whatever out there, you know, we got to make that happen. We got to figure out a way to make that happen. And, you know, I know we can't do it now, and what you have recommended, Madam County Manager, I think is very appropriate. I think that's right. We need to go, at least I think so anyway.
If we didn't have Meetup Mountain, I would say share. Renovations and improvement in that area, and it's being well used. Mr. Smith,
Give it up.
Okay, so,
Thrilled to hear the news.
yeah, that's great, but that's not really what I said about the police site, though.
Yes, in order to make that a really usable facility, we'll certainly need to consider restroom facilities and parking to include everything being accessible.
Right, okay.
Okay, the last one was just a quick question, and to be safe, we can do it anyway, but as you know, we have our in-person, may have 4 of you attend, which is fabulous, by the way. We would need to advertise it as a meeting to satisfy the open meetings law. So I didn't know if you had plans, or if you think you might come, we will go ahead, because there's 4 of you here, so if all 4 of you tell me, we'll go ahead and advertise it, to be sure that we're in compliance. And we hope we'll have a turnout.
Now, when is this?
Next Wednesday, the 12th, from 6 to 8 at the Ag Center.
Next Wednesday, the 12th.
Excuse me, I'm 6 to 8.
Okay.
I'm planning to be.
Okay.
Wednesday, September 14th, 6 to 8 at as of now, I probably will be there.
Okay.
But that may change. Ms. Bruce, see?
Okay.
I'm planning to.
Ms. Johnson, Ms. Smith, what do y'all think?
that's usually my favorite class night on Wednesday night, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we can talk about some of those details later. But we are getting pretty good response on our surveys. So if you have the link to the survey, please feel free to share it. We have it shared on our webpage and on our spin page and on social media pages. And we've asked our departments to also share it.
Ms. Denton, I haven't seen you all. What was the main topic of that event on? All right.
Along that line, you'll recall that the county's already set aside $2.5 million for any sort of broadband infrastructure to include great grants or the CAB program. As you know, last week the governor announced many more awards across the state, and of the 93 eligible counties, only 92 received awards, and Halifax County was the odd man out. We have all made phone calls to DIT and to our contacts there, and we've reached out to try to get some information about, we didn't have any idea what was going on. We had 7 applications from Halifax County, from Director of the Broadband Infrastructure Office, sent me an email this morning, and she wants to talk later today. So I told her I would be available after the meeting. I'm sure some calls are made. So I'll be talking to her probably this afternoon.
And let me know how the conversation.
Absolutely. We will let all of you know what they've said, because it's just really bizarre.
It really is. Thank you, Ms. Denton.
One more thing, just to give you an update talking about the needs-based grant. As you saw, we did submit the application for Weldon City Schools last week on the September 1 deadline. In conjunction with that, Ratio Design, who helped us with the application and the report for the school there, they finished their report. I only included the executive summary in your update because the whole report's like 78 pages. But I do have full copies in my office, all for me, unless you had other questions.
Well, I just want to make a comment. I know it's hard for you and your staff and your county trying to work on that, well, about the schools. And do appreciate all your hard work. It was challenging for this one. But anyway, Ms. Denton and Mr. Wilder and all, we got it.
We understand the awards will be announced sometime in October.
In October?
Don't have an exact date, but we're told October.
Do you have an on-about date? Is it October 1st? You just October?
Right.
Okay.
Just October.
All right.
Do you have a copy of Burn Records?
I do.
You do?
And that was what Attorney Rollins was speaking about a few minutes ago, how those two are still pending.
Yes, so Roanoke Rapids has an application in as well. Halifax County Schools and the county were funded in the first round. The current round, we have 2 applications in.
Right. Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Back from vacation, so I barely knew where I was when I walked in the building this morning.
Well,
I will be in court tomorrow concerning the 903 matter on preliminary injunction hearing, which was continued from Friday before last. Beyond that, I don't have anything really, if you...
enjoy vacation, because I was away, you're doing some...
I did, I don't know how long it's been a while since I took that much time off, and I still managed to send a few emails until I blew up something on my notepad that I'll have to look at when I get back to the office.
Right. I don't think, unless the commissioners, do you all want to hear anything else about that until after the, I think it'd be more beneficial. We just let you report back to us after this hearing.
Very good, I'll do that.
Okay. Any other business? I know we have to go to closed session for at least 1 minute, for a minute. Any other business? Before I ask for a motion to go into closed session. If not, I'll ask for a motion to go into closed session for the approval of closed session minutes. Motion by Commissioner Gill, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any other discussion? Hold tight. Closed session.